Hello and welcome to CBATV, coming to you from Hargeisa, Somaliland. My name is Abdillahi Hassan and you are watching the news in brief. Somaliland's opposition party Wadani doubles down on his demand that the government releases more details on the meeting between President Musa Bihi and Somalia's leader Mohamed Abdillahi Farmajo in Addis Ababa last week. Khadr Hussein, the Secretary General of Wadani Party, today called on the government to disclose the details of the last Tuesday's meeting between President Bihi and Farmajo. In a press conference at his party headquarters, Khadr Hussein urged the government to disclose the agenda of the meeting, the government's plan for the talks and the result of the meeting. Khadr Hussein also criticized the government for lack of transparency in the conduct of its foreign policy. He accused the government of misleading the public when officials return from foreign visits. He refused the government's narrative that the two presidents met at the office of the Ethiopian premier without prior planning. Wadani's Secretary General further elaborated on his party's stand on the talks with Somalia. He first underlined that Somaliland's quest for international recognition is tied with reaching an agreement with the government of Somalia as things stand now. The way to achieve that, he said, is through transparent talks with the input of all stakeholders such as the political parties and regions of Somaliland. 300 soldiers have been trained to take over the security responsibility of the areas liberated by the Somali National Army. The officers graduated at the General Kahir Police Training Academy in Mogadishu after completing a month-long specialized training. Speaking at the graduation ceremony this week, Somali Police Commissioner Abdillahi Hassan urged officers to maintain discipline, be exemplary and share knowledge and best practices among themselves. The trainees were first trained in Djibouti for 3 months before undergoing a refresher program at the police academy in January 2020. They are the first batch of 100 and 750 Darwish forces to be trained to secure population centers in liberated areas and newly liberated areas of Lower Shabelle region. Instructors from AMISOM police components supported by the UN police and international partners of Somalia provided the training. The Turkish police have caught a young Somali man who dressed as a woman to travel to the United Kingdom illegally using a woman's documents. The young Somali man, who was identified as Simbali Ibrahim, was at Isimboga airport in the Turkish capital Ankara on February 12, holding the travel documents of a lady called Khadija. He had everything ready: a long skirt, a fur coat, a tight headscarf and full makeup. The suspect indeed resembles the woman who was carrying her documents. However, the police grew suspicious about the copious amounts of freshly applied makeup. Police officers then checked security camera footage to discover that a woman had arrived to hand a travel documents over to the suspect. The police instructed the suspect to remove his headscarf and clear her makeup while they ran a background check. The traveler was in fact a man named Ibrahim, a Somali national who came to Turkey in September 2019. Khadija, who turned out to be his girlfriend, was apprehended as she tried to flee the airport. Both are currently being held in Turkish police custody. The Somali military will intensify operations to fight against Al-Shabaab in the country, according to military commander. Speaking to newly Turkish-trained Somali soldiers in Mogadishu, Deputy Force Commander of the Somali National Army Mohammed Ali Brise said the forces will take part in operations in central and southern regions to defeat Al-Shabaab in the country. Over 100 soldiers of the Somali elite forces known as Gorgor forces who completed training course in Turkey have returned to the country on Friday. They were welcomed at the airport by the Somali Defense Minister Hassan Ali Mohammed and military commanders. The minister said they will play a key role in the government's efforts to stabilize the country, adding that the Somali forces are ready to stabilize and work on how the Somali people can cope with the pressure of Al-Shabaab militants. The minister expressed his government's commitment to defeat the terror group and restore stability in the country, saying the government prioritizes the formation of the armed forces, adding that special military trainings will take place. Somalia army backed by African Union mission in Somalia, AMISOM, have been fighting Al-Shabaab fighters in different parts of the country. The group now lost large swaths of territories to the Somali army. Egypt's health ministry on Friday announced the first confirmed case of the novel coronavirus in Africa. The patient was not Egyptian, the ministry said in a statement without specifying his nationality. The ministry has taken preventive measures and is monitoring the patient, who is stable, said a health ministry spokesperson. Egyptian authorities had notified the World Health Organization and the patient had been placed in quarantine isolation in hospital. Meanwhile, the death toll from a new coronavirus epidemic in China surged past 1,500 on Saturday. This came a day after people returning from holiday were told to quarantine themselves for 14 days. The number of the new cases on Saturday was 2,641, or about half the number of the previous day. More than 24 countries have confirmed cases and several nations have suspended trade and travel links with China in a bid to contain the spread of the virus. 4 deaths have been recorded outside mainland China, in Hong Kong, Philippines, Japan, and the most recent in France. Thank you for joining us. That was our news in brief. Stay tuned as I will be back with more detailed news coverage later tonight.